Hello, my name is Sophia Nelson, and my internship was at the Boston Leadership Institute through a summer program for biomedical and surgical research. Since I was unable to travel due to the coronavirus, I spent 2 weeks utilizing Zoom to have medical lectures, research conditions and surgeries, meet current medical students, and learn surgical knot ties and sutures. This resulted in my project becoming unconventional as I was not able to truly conduct research during the program. Instead, I conducted an individual meta analysis to determine whether exercise was a viable method of treatment for major depressive disorder by choosing 3 peer reviewed studies to compare. To conduct this analysis, I used ProQuest to find studies based on certain parameters to ensure that they were applicable and comparable to each other. These were broken down into inclusion and exclusion criteria, such as including studies with an appropriate method of data measurement and no statistical difference between the groups of participants, and excluding those that experimented with other disorders outside of MDD or did not have a measurement for physical activity. The first study measured through the Hamilton Depression Rating Scale and saw a great improvement in every group, including the placebo group. This study split the participants into 4 groups to test the difference between individual home exercise, supervised exercise, medication, and placebo medication. There was not a statistically significant difference between these groups. In the second study, there were only 2 groups, the exercise group and the control group, that continued to take their regularly prescribed medications. This study was measured using Beck's Depression Index, and after the 6-week time frame, there was a great difference between the 2 experimental groups, with the exercise group dropping to 6.8, while the control group decreased only to 26.2. Similar to the previous study, the final study only had 2 groups, an exercise group and a control group. But there was no statistical difference shown as the results at the end were very similar. This one was also measured on the depression rating scale, just as the first one was. The first and third studies showed a slightly lower resulting score compared to the control medication groups, but there really is no statistical significant difference between the groups. In the second study, however, the physical exercise groups demonstrated a drastic improvement compared to the control group, showing that exercise may possibly be very effective, but when compared with other studies, it's clear that more research is necessary. My goal for this project was to gain a better understanding of major depressive disorder and the impact that physical exercise can have on mental health, and primarily to determine the efficacy of exercise in managing and treating MDD. Based on the results I found, exercise is supported to be a viable treatment. There must be more testing to confirm its impacts. Exercise may be beneficial to supplement current treatment and a possible option for those who have little to no access to traditional treatment methods. Thank you to Ms. Abe and Mr. Green for helping me through this hectic process and finding a project through this pandemic. And thank you, Boston Leadership Institute, for the unique and valuable experience I was able to enjoy and learn from this summer. Thank you.